Okay, so chapter number 7 is enhancing your sound with your tongue on the harp. So this chapter is kind of about using your tongue to create certain chords, shift between chords and melody notes, play harmonies, and I get some other effects you can do just by shifting your tongue placement on the harmonica. Um, so so some of the techniques in this chapter were harder than some of the other stuff that I've done so far. So I've been practicing it for a little bit, but I apologize if iMovie doesn't work. Um, but so it's more like I'm just showing you guys. This is actually ridiculous how often this drops. The techniques that I'm learning, but they're not totally perfect as of now. But so still practicing. But anyway, so first talks about some of the chords on the harmonica. So there's the C chord. Holes 1 through 4 are G major chord draw. And then draw 4, 5, and 6 is D minor. So that would be 4, 5, 6. And anyway, so then they talk about using, so like, talk about this in a previous video, but there's kind of two techniques to playing single notes. They have like the pucker method, which is where you just kind of like pucker your lips like that. And then you can also do the tongue blocking technique. So that's where you your mouth is on multiple holes, but you're kind of using your tongue to like block off some of them. So like that. Talk about how you can switch between so like do that kind of stuff where you're taking your tongue off of them so that it switching between melody notes, and talks about at the beginning of the chapter that there's kind of no really one technique to achieving a lot of these sounds, and a lot of it is just people learn by messing around on the harmonica and eventually learning them. So then it talks about some other kind of things you can do. So I need to find a different program to do these in. These videos keep on dropping. Then it talks about, so this is kind of what it was doing before, but kind of just, so this is like, so like starting with a lot of notes and then cutting them off with your tongue. That kind of stuff. And then it talks about like creating kind of textures with your chords, so you can do like where you're kind of moving your tongue back and forth in your mouth, like and then they talk about doing like so like just rapidly moving your tongue to block and unblock the notes, which is called a chord hammer. The previous one was called a chord rake. And then this one is, so like this one's kind of harder, but But it's so it's like shifting between notes that are kind of farther away by, so if you have like four notes, you like block the left three and then you block the right three to play notes that are, you know, four holes apart. uh, for some reason I'm having trouble right now playing a single note on the right side. I wasn't having problems with that before, but um, um, I'm also getting the harmonica super wet, which is annoying, but suppose that's common for beginners. A lot of saliva and such. And then, so then this is the hardest part, which is doing like harmonies. So you actually just put your tongue in the middle and let the two notes on the outside sound out. So, and then depending on how like much of your tongue you use, you can block off different numbers of notes in the middle. So let's see if I can do this. But you could hear the difference there where it's notes on the outside versus the middle. So it's just kind of changing the multiple notes being played. And then we can, so it talks about, yeah, that it talks about how you can do different different numbers of them. So basically if you do four notes, no matter where on the harmonic you do, if you play four notes or four holes, it'll be an octave. So like that kind of stuff. And then, so this is actually what I was having the most problems with, and I can't really do yet, but if you're inhaling, then it, depending on where you are on the harmonica, it'll, if you want to play an octave, you have to block different numbers of notes. So sometimes you have to play 5 holes and cover the middle 3. So that would be like, so that was a blow and a draw where you have to switch the amount. And it's, heavy practicing, like alternating back and forth between blowing and drawing and changing the width of the number of notes you're playing and the positioning of your tongue, which is pretty hard to do rapidly. But yeah, that was all this chapter covered. And then they kind of cover again the concept of jumping back and forth. I wasn't where you're like playing a high note out of one side of your mouth and then the other side, like that kind of stuff. Which this is, they say, I mean, it's basically the same thing that I did before, but it's rather than playing rapidly to kind of create like a, it's just like to change, you know, you're actually playing a melody and it's like like that, just because it's easier and it's faster. They didn't really give a reason why you would do that besides just like, I guess if you had to play something quickly or you weren't good at remembering where the positions are. So anyway, that's chapter 7. I'm going to be practicing those techniques more. And then some of the later chapters they talk a lot about how like, oh, this technique is used in chapter 14 in songs number 5, 6, and 7 or something. So I think they'll be giving more examples of using these techniques within songs. And now it's just kind of practicing, actually getting the mouth movements down. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good start to your week, and hopefully I'll be back soon with chapter number 8.